Palworld is still breaking records in people's minds.
The downside to the Palworld success is AAA games trying to capture its success about 2 or 3 years and layering it with microtransactions and battle passes. Maybe. I don't know if AAA games are willing to take the heat.
Who said that Palworld at some point is not going to put in microtransactions, though?
This game had. It seems like a lot of AAA games play it exceptionally safe and rehash already done IPs just worse and then lither it with that stuff, as opposed to rehashing IPs that have been proven to split the population even if they're financially successful. You know, the combination of what happened to make this product is like pretty hilarious. I don't know if it seems like the type of thing where it would be difficult to duplicate the success. But who knows? It's a rough guess. Pull a notch and sell the game. Yeah, but it's controversial.
I mean, it actually is very easy to replicate the game, but who knows it's going to be successful.
You know, what company is going to be willing to take the product? Then again, it's on Game Pass, so I mean, what do I know, right? Game Freak? I don't know. Pokemon strikes me as the type of, you know, Game Freak here. Strikes me, or Nintendo, I guess, really is what I'm thinking. It strikes me as the type of company that doesn't necessarily think they're doing anything wrong, doesn't want to innovate, and probably sees this as a rip-off inferior product, if I had to guess. Especially just...
Hard to say. I kind of agree on half of that, I guess. But Nintendo is not releasing subpar products. The reality is, Pokemon are breaking sales with every new game. They're breaking their old records with every single new release. It's true. The old Pokemon fans are obviously going to talk shit about Pokemon because I don't recognize a single Pokemon after the, well, I don't know, the first 250-ish or how many ever Pokemon? You know, where Mewtwo was the last one. I think Pokemon died after that, whatever generation that was. And the older Pokemon fans are obviously not gonna like the newer Pokemons and whatnot. But that's the minority. Again, if that wasn't reality, if that wasn't the minority, then Pokemon would not have record-breaking sales for their rip-off of the exact same game that they did a while ago.
Judging by the statement they put out. I think the response instead would be like, you know what, instead of fighting it, let's adapt to what they're doing. I think it would be like, these guys, you know, they made a bad product that everyone likes just because they're stealing our IP. Let's go make another dog shit Pokemon game. I mean, I think that's pretty much what's going to happen. Pokemon hasn't been good in a long time. I don't care what people say. Arceus was trash. And the other one where I turned into where like you actually have a motorcycle Pokemon that has 4 legs and the wheels don't turn, but for some reason still a motorcycle. Like, I don't understand what we're doing with the game anymore. I play both of them, and the frame rate looked like some...
Yeah, of course, because you haven't been you haven't been following it. But more people are from the generations that this is okay than not. So again, Pokemon is breaking records. It is actually an unobjective truth that Pokemon is a bad game. It's a great game. It's just the fact that people like us are being left in the dirt by Pokemon.
Something that was worse than, you know, Super Metroid I played in the 90s literally had a better fucking frame rate. I don't understand how we're talking about what's the limitations of the console. Well, what the fuck are we talking about? We had bare frame rate literally 30 years ago, and don't tell me that console was worse either. I understand the graphics are better now, but they're not that good. Go back to what you were making and make the frame rate not 12, and maybe we have a product, but it is what it is. If I get another Pokemon that looks like a literal trash can or an ice cream cone, I'm pretty done. I'll show you exactly when I lost faith.
Yeah, again, the old players, the old fans of Pokemon, if you grew up with Pokemon and that growing up stage was 20 years ago, you're not the intended audience. That is reality. Pokemon has never stopped from that point onward. When you stop watching Pokemon, Pokemon did not stop.
If in the original Pokemon, I'll show you. When this dude walked out of a dumpster and attacked me, and it's literally a trash bag Pokemon, that's my and that would have been bad enough.
Nice.
But it was off the back of just dealing with this guy, which was an ice cream cone Pokemon.
Nice.
And at that point, I was like, I mean, we're gonna get the Nike Jordans Pokemon before too much longer, and I'm really gonna
the Kanye West Pokemon. That's what I'm talking about.
Be over it. You like that one though? Well, I'm glad for you. Like I I don't think my opinion's like the arbiter of what you should be allowed to like. It's just for me. It's like I liked Pokemon because it's like that's a lizard, that's a dragon, that's a dog. It's cool. You know, like I'll admit I don't like this guy. He's cool and all, but like I don't like him. He's just like a samurai or some shit.
Yeah,
that doesn't
looks
really
like
strike me as like the pals I thought. When they start becoming like other things, I get weird. You know, this is a fox, that's a duck, that's a deer, that's a cat. You know, that's a mole or something.
Mole, yeah.
That's a boar. That's a you know, a cool electric bird. Like, you know, I can deal with this. This is a turd. Like, you know, that's fine. I can deal with that. When we start getting into like, this is a samurai who breathes fire, it's like, well, so some of these fall under that same category of being 100% fair with it. Should really be animals. I mean, I like it when it's more of like animals or at least creatures. If you want to come up with your own animals, so be it. I'm not going to hate on that. Come up with a mythical dragon or something. That's not exactly an animal we really have. I'm cool with it. When we start getting into like just things that happen to be on the planet, it starts to come kind of weird. I mean, before I know it, like, okay, well, is this cooking pot a Pokemon?
Probably.
Is this cooler a Pokemon? Because it might as well be. I've seen a garbage bag, so...
No, Cooler is Cooler. He's from Dragon Ball. He's not in this game.
You know, it starts to get weird pretty quickly. I look back, I didn't even like ones like Mr. Mime. Yeah, I actually completely agree with that take. I didn't like Mr. Mime either. Doesn't matter if it's an OG, I didn't like it either. So I've stayed true to that take the whole time.
True.
At some point you run out of ammo and have to make Pokemon out of anything else? Nah, I don't think so. I don't buy that. The planet's got more Animos, variety of Animo species than...
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Every ant fundamentally looks like every other ant. Every ant fundamentally looks almost like every other termite. Every termite fundamentally looks almost like every other thing. There is very little difference in variety. It pretty much does come down to, you know, contour color and whatnot.
And we have in Pokemon, so I just don't buy that argument. I think it's easier to pick random things. Like, I think when you're sitting at a desk drawing stuff and you're like, you know what, let's do vape pen Pokemon. Like, I think that's what ends up happening. So I don't buy it. This is basically Palworld. I've got about 60 hours into it. Have you seen it at all yet? Or?
I've watched like...
No, that's his brother.
So, more or less, it's Pokemon. See, like, I hit him with a ball, and then it's like, there we go. That was a boss. Got the boss. Got some experience. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here. There's like tech trees. You actually learn like all these different things, like saddles to ride things, breeding. Look, there's like ARs.
Breeding.
Even mounted missile launchers at the end of it.
You mean you can arm the fucking Pokemons?
Yeah, basically.
Dude,
What could go wrong with arming the slave population? Honestly, not much.
how would anybody look at this game and be like, I don't know why it's doing so well?
It's literally the #1 game. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I don't-
not even... It's...
You know, not all the game journalists were like, this game is terrible.
It's not the gaming journalists, because most people understand why it's doing good. It's the devs that are salty that it's doing good. It's like when Baldur's Gate 3
The
did
devs
good.
Are like,
Yeah.
Of Palworld? Or,
Yeah.
Or you're talking other
I'm not just talking Pokemon
Oh,
devs, I'm talking devs in general. Like, they're...
that are grumpy that this
they're
is doing
grumpy.
it?
Oh, yeah. Bro, dude, whenever someone do... It's actually true. That is so true. Baldur's Gate was the best example of this, but when someone actually puts in a lot of effort in what they are doing, or just tries to make a good game, the devs get so pissed. Oh, there's no storyline. Oh, there's no two branching paths that then combine into one again, no matter what you do. They get so pissed. Because the success of games like this literally is just a spit in the face of, you know, Diablo 4 devs, Starfield devs, the whole of Bethesda, and a lot of companies. It's just a spit in the face of them, and it's telling them, hey, you can make good, record-breaking games so easily, but you're just incompetent and thus you can't. That's what it's telling them. Baldur's Gate told developers that they are incompetent because they can't achieve a quality level of this, even though, you know, every other company has more resources and whatnot. It just tells the developers to their face that they're incompetent when something like this succeeds, especially to this extent. Palworld is the most simplistic thing ever, and the devs have literally came out and said, yeah, we just wanted to make a fun game for people, so we added things that people like. And other devs are literally losing their minds because that's unacceptable for them. This literally proves that they are incompetent because something like this can, strike the hearts of so many people.
That it's doing well. Yeah, it's the same thing that Baldur's Gate 3 happened. Is people were literally mad. Some of the devs were saying, "Oh, they're setting an unrealistic expectation that like we can't keep up with." It's like, they have the expectation to make a good fucking game. Like, who would have guessed?
How about we've gotten so fucking lazy in our game development? It seems like what they did with Palworld is like, well, let's just grab all the most popular shit and toss it into a game.
That's exactly what he said. He says, "I'm a trend follower. I'm just going to put things that
so
people like me. They didn't interview
cool shit in the game." It's like Michael Bay movies, like. It's interesting to me that Palworld's a huge hit because it seems like it's just a bunch of bros that got together and like, let's just shove everything cool into a game and we don't really give a shit about anything else. And like, oh my god,
pretty much.
Imagine that, It would be interesting. I should go look at this. It'd be interesting to pull some academic journals that do pop culture and mass media consumption stuff. Like if they've done research on entertainment and game designs before and after the advent of streaming platforms, microdosing of content like the TikTok, the 7-second era, and how much, like, what does the game design and entertainment design really, where has those shifted? How has that shifted?
I think it's shifted a little bit from like the marketing and advertising side.
Get hit in the head by some kind of energy ball and yeeted and deleted. That's good.
Out there, like,
but in terms of like actual development of the game, I think what shifted them more is like microtransactions, battle passes, trying to sell cosmetics, pay to win, and shit like that.
That's sure.
But I would say it's more or less getting worse for the most part. Though games like this is kind of nice because you get a breath of fresh air where everyone just kind of says like, look, you can make a good game with a decent price.
And it kind of blows my mind that the breath of fresh air this game has...
That everything gets worse. I mean, look at this. This is a VOD uploaded to YouTube from his stream, by the way. The stream, right? And the quality is just so bad. Remember the good old times? When this was considered 480p 10 years ago? Yeah, I remember that. 5 years ago, this would be considered 720p. That was fine. But man, now this is literally what is called 180p 60 HD or whatever you're supposed to pronounce that. The quality is just so terrible. Everything's getting worse.
Is literally just a bunch of mass appeal elements shoved together. It's not even really like...
But you know why that is, though? It's because they don't give a fuck what you want anymore. Like, so it's when this game comes out and goes, oh, you like guns? You like Pokemon? You like Ark? Like, you like Survival? Let's just throw all the shit that people are saying they like in the game. Whereas normally what happens is the consumer feels horribly disrespected because they buy a game and they go all this shit, like, I don't want all this shit in the game. And they're just going to shove it in there time after time after time. And more times they're going to leverage old IPs and play off of nostalgia and trick you into buying a game that then ends up being dog shit.
Yep. The first sign of a game developer company absolutely losing itself is announcing a remake of an old game that they have done. CDPR Red, literally looking at you in The Witcher. Updated for modern audiences. Beautiful.
I think where the people get upset and these conversations start is when you realize the focus shifts. So originally it was on the inputs. Game developers would go in there and be like, let's put all the inputs correctly to make a good game. Let's put all of the things that we need to make the game good, and then what happens. But now this focus shifts to the outputs. So all of the developers, the producers, and everyone involved in the game look at what is the output we want. Let's get the inputs in there that try to make the output happen, as opposed to just put the good inputs in.
True, but that's just incompetence. Because the way that he says this, the way that he frames it, then Palworld is bad. Well, Palworld should be a bad game. Because Palworld did that. Palworld concentrated on what should be the end result. That's essentially what he's saying. I think it's just, most developers are trash. It's just a bunch of losers who thought that they want to make video games, then they went into the field, studied and whatnot, and then they figured out, well, wait a minute. Me liking Mortal Kombat 1 doesn't make me a good game developer. I'm actually autistic, in fact. Yeah, that's just the gaming industry, sadly. It's not a bunch of people who know what's good, it's just a bunch of people who think they know what's good.
In there, and then what happens. And you think Palworld thought, how do we get the #1 game? They're just like, what can we
Oh,
add
yeah,
in there
no,
that makes
yeah,
a good
I mean,
game?
You listen to those guys, you can tell they're about as prepared as like 3 frat boys turning up here that just.
Yeah,
put
one
some
guy
shit
works at a
together.
gas station. He's
I
in
mean,
middle school.
Those
Like
guys
it's
have no concept.
Yeah, there was a guy in middle school who made a lot for this game. That's hilarious, though. I hope the CEO stole all the money. Anyway, I think that's it. Not a lot here to the discussion anyway. That was our boy DM, Dark Microtransactions. Skittles. It is what it is. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid saying thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.